absolutely fantastic. And the rain now is beginning to come down quite heavily. 43 narrowboats altogether and 20 barges. They've come from many parts of the UK and actually carry an impressive contingent of Lord Lieutenants representing the counties of Merseyside, Warwickshire, Worcestershire, Lancashire, Cheshire, Shropshire and Staffordshire.
Lovely to see the artwork on these vessels. The two in the background there have got really traditional sign writing on them, and so has this one in the foreground now. That sign writing signified the way these boats work.
When you consider the sort of network of canals that we've got all over this country, which really created the wealth of many parts of the country, didn't it?
Yeah, the narrowboats really carried on the commerce of the nation before we had railways and roads.
Here we are, she's got a phone to her ear, and she's saying, yes, I'm the one at the front waving.
It's great that the narrowboats are able to do this, because if it had been really windy they were going to get blown out, because they're not designed for seaway at all, and the Thames can get pretty rough, but we've been lucky in the weather.
Meanwhile, back at Westminster, and all the watermen absolutely delighted with the progress that the Spirit of Chartwell is making. Nobody has sat down, nobody's disappeared really off that top deck. Everybody wants to get a fantastic view. Well, the longest, or one of the largest pictures ever created on the side of the Sea Containers building, I think it is a picture of the Queen's Silver Jubilee celebrations. I hope that was a nice surprise for the Royal Party.
I was down on the water yesterday, and I have to say that picture is enormous. Enormous.
Well, I think instantly recognisable as the Royal Party at the Queen's Silver Jubilee in 1977, stretched right over the whole building face, almost 100 metres in width and 70 metres in height. Total weight of a couple of tons or thereabouts. The largest photograph ever of the royal family. We just had a quick shot there, I'm sure we'll see it again, of the dome of St Paul's Cathedral, where of course the Queen will be visiting on Tuesday. That is one of the iconic sites, not just of London, but of the whole country. And some of the smallest boats in the whole pageant moving on past with the flags of the Commonwealth countries. Of course, these pictures going all over the world, not just to Commonwealth countries either. Some way ahead of them, HMS Belfast on the right-hand side, and well, we could have mentioned this word time and time again, iconic. The Tower Bridge is about as iconic as it gets.
approaching us here, the Gloriana. It is the most spectacular sight as they make their way up here towards Tower Bridge. They're passing HMS Belfast, and it really is amazing.
We have been waiting for some time. And I had this very expectant crowd just below the studio, and suddenly this wave of energy approaches, and the belfry, it is literally just like a floating cathedral. I mean, the sound is just magical.
Anna, you know, put this in, you know, in history terms, this is a people's pageant now, isn't it?
That's my line. It's the people's pageant. It is the people's pageant. I mean, it's the Queen's pageant, of course, but look at it. I mean, it's the people's pageant. People on the river, people at the sides cheering. I mean, you know, the Queen, the pride which she's going to, you know, look out over the river, see everybody waving. Look at all the cameras. I mean, you know.
I've just spotted my 70-year-old dad.
Sophie's dad's out there.
Yeah, he's made it. He's made it. Isn't that
colour
wonderful?
just hits you.
I mean, it is kind of like brought to life. I mean, all the colours. And it's just so democratic. I mean, of course, we've got the Queen in the middle of it, but look at it, surrounded by people. And even the rain's now here.
Yeah.
It's so
British.
will be here any moment now. But Adrian Evans, the man who came up with this, you know, 3 years in the making, he wanted it to be even longer. He wanted it to start in Hampton Court Palace. We come all the way up here. It was slimmed down a little bit, but not that much, was it?
No, the vision has totally been fulfilled. I mean, look at it. And even look at all the cheering crowds. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. And this is what the Queen's reign has been building towards, I think. You know,
Well, surely this must be, well, one of the biggest honours, if not the biggest honour that she's kind of ever witnessed to see in front of her.
Absolutely. I mean, and of course there must be a sense of trepidation. You know, what's it going to be like? How are people going to react? And when we've got the diaries of Queen Victoria after her Diamond Jubilee, and actually they've just gone online, and she talks about, you know, oh my goodness, no one would have had an ovation like that. The pure joy in people's faces.
And you know, she hasn't sat down. She's standing there. We're watching her standing there. She has not sat down. 86 years old. And she looks like she's just having a wonderful
just so
time.
animated. They're genuinely engaged and enjoying it. She's not going through the motion. She's loving it. When the war horse was there,
I
mean, she loved that.
She was pointing. Did you see that? Did you see that?
And of course that's got historical precedence. On Anne Boleyn's barge, she had a fire-breathing mechanical dragon. So you know.
Right. Well, listen. As the belfry reaches, just reaching the Tower Bridge there, an incredible sight, isn't it? HMS Belfast. All out.
Tired rowers out there.
Well, this is almost their kind of finish point, I guess, and the end is in sight for those.
Amazing job that they have done. And the Royal Barge will be in sight here shortly. There it is. The manpower section coming past HMS Belfast. And you have to remember, those rowers, they have been out there probably since about 10 o'clock this morning. They've been on their boats.
I mean, it's everything. I mean, it's simple. I mean, I know it sounds silly to say, but it's everything, even like toilet breaks and stuff like that, you know.
That's a big consideration.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I don't think we're going to go to that.
I was wondering there might be some, you know, indiscreet moments we might capture.
You just walk cross-legged.
Making very good progress indeed is the row barge. All the bells still ringing underneath Tower Bridge. And eventually the royal party will be tying up at HMS President, you just saw on the right-hand side of the screen there, which is home to the London division of the Royal Navy Reserve and has been since 1988.
Well, we can see the belfry. It's just passed under Tower Bridge. Let me take you to meet you with someone really special. This is the bridge control room, and I'm going to introduce you to somebody who has an incredible job today. It's the Tower Bridge Master, Eric Southern. Eric, hello. And you're going to be raising the bridge, raising the bascules to let the flotilla through, and they're coming very shortly. 4 minutes time. Okay. And you're going to be raising the bridge in royal salute. Is that slightly higher than normal?
It's a full lift. It's a full lift every time for a roll salute.
Yeah.
Most ships don't need a full lift, and we can put the bascule wherever we want them. So we actually lift the bascles to suit the size of the vessel, but the Queen gets the full lift come what may.
You don't seem very nervous at all. This is your control panel. So you're going to be loosening the bolts, then those counterweights will be lifting the bascules.
Now, we're already unlocked, so we're ready to go.
Ready to go. And is that the lever that you're going to be
Pulling
pulling?
the lever, yes, and then the bascule will raise.
Now you've done this many, many times before. Are you feeling hundreds? Are you feeling a little bit nervous today?
No, it's exciting, not nervous. It's an exciting day, and everybody's having lots of fun, and it just makes it that more special.
So nothing can go wrong?
Keeping our fingers crossed.
Can anything go wrong though?
Anything can go wrong. We're working with a piece of machinery, but it's very reliable, and hopefully everything will go fine in a couple of minutes' time.
All right, well I can see they're always going to come through, so I'm going to get out of your way and let you get on with your job. Eric, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Off you go.
Well, those bascules will be moving very shortly. Of course, all of those craft totally and utterly dwarfed by HMS Belfast, which was commissioned in 1938, 91,000 tons, the largest cruiser in the Royal Navy. So not too much wind, Tom. Everything looking pretty good so far.
No, I mean, it really has worked out for the best. I can't believe how lucky we've been, because the weather forecast looks extremely iffy. Nobody could have really predicted what was going to happen with the weather front that was hanging around over London. But isn't it great to see all these boats rowed by these fine, strong... Yeah, that's the wonder of it, really, to me. You see some of these war canoes could really fly. Some of the rowing boats, we've got the original, replica of the original boat race boat in there that could absolutely fly up this course. They'll be struggling to keep it down to 4 knots. There's a Cornish gig. She can do 8 knots on a good day too.
Well, salute to the Queen. Those drawbridges, or the bascules as we now know they're called, will be raised to their full extent in honour of the chief guest on the River Thames today. We heard a lot earlier on in the programme about the muster. In other words, the bringing together of all the craft ready to take part in the pageant. What happens to them afterwards, Tom?
Well, they disperse into their various places, and the organisation for even that tour has been fantastic, because you think about all those boats, they all pile at the same beach at the same time. It would be absolute chaos, but it's not going to happen. The whole thing has been planned absolutely to a T. It was nice seeing those Venetian gondoliers, wasn't it? Just sort of standing on their oars for a bit. They'll be pretty wrecked after that, actually.
Well, Tower Bridge has always been best known for its impressive, very impressive central drawbridge, despite the fact it has a bit of a medieval appearance. The drawbridge was built to be operated by the most advanced technology available in the 19th century, and that was hydraulic power. Flags of the Commonwealth once more, still flying proudly on top of those Trinity 500s, doffing their caps as they pass the Royal Barge. Royal Barge, of course. Here we are. Some of the guests are sheltering from the rain. Of course, the weather is the one thing that nobody has got any control of at all. The Queen, of course, is head of state in 16 of the 54 Commonwealth member countries, all of them now fully independent, which apart from the UK, she is represented by a Governor-General. And I promise you, those bascules will lift in just a couple of moments' time. $1,200 tons each arm, if you like, or each drawbridge section of the Tower Bridge weighs, can be raised to their fullest extent of 80 degrees in an amazing 60 seconds. And the dispersal now begins. A lot more boats to come through Tower Bridge, obviously, and they'll all be watched eventually by the Queen when she leaves the Royal Barge. But the weather really has deteriorated, Tom.
Yeah, the rain's coming down now, but mercifully it doesn't seem to have produced a lot of breeze to go with it. Interestingly, we've seen one or two smaller boats being taken in tow by the bigger ones, which was all part of the plan. There we go, look. And it's great to see what good spirits people are in when they're being towed. There's no sense of humiliation because there's no failure here. This has been a tough road to this east breeze. If it had been any more than this, they'd have had to scratch the event for the rowing boats, but they've muscled it out, and huge credit to them, even the ones that have ended up on the tow.
I'm sure some of the active rowers, as we see one of the many music sections in the pageant, I'm sure a lot of the rowers will probably appreciate the tough challenge that lay ahead and will be very satisfied with what they've achieved so far.
Well, yeah, because these are not, most of these boats are not racing skiffs. Some of them are actually working boats that were built to carry stuff, which are really heavy to row. There's a Yorkshire cobbler there, and that's sort of heavy to row, I can tell you that personally. And there's a trow from the rivers of the Western England that was built to carry cargo. A very, very heavy load indeed to row.
Well, we just saw a brief glimpse there of Handel's water music being played by the Academy of Ancient Music on board the Edwardian. Quite appropriate, really, under the circumstances. I think we saw a glimpse of the new home of London government as well. City Hall on the south side of the River Thames, the home, of course, now of Boris Johnson for a further term. He's on the river too somewhere. The gentleman who received the Victoria Cross, Mr. Johnson Bahari. We've seen him on television a few times, but what an achievement. At some cost too, I have to say, but the VC holder aboard the Sapele. And the pageant is simply full of music. On board the Flotilla there, just one of the bands of Her Majesty's Royal Marines. There's a couple of bands on the river today. heard them giving the Queen a fanfare a little while ago too. And right at the back end of the parade, we'll be finishing off with some very special music delivered by the London Philharmonic Orchestra. So 30 musicians from the band of the Royal Marines, they're led by Principal Director of Music, Lieutenant Colonel Grace. HMS Belfast is about to be flanked by the Royal Barge, and the Royal Barge is about to receive a very impressive salute from some of the personnel on board. Veterans and sea cadets on board HMS Belfast. We got off to a bit of a false start with the basculas, but they are about to be lifted for the Royal Barge. What a sight. An extraordinary machine lifting an extraordinary road into the sky. Once again, the Royal Marines trumpeters .
Now, Jim, how was that to cheer the Queen just then and have her acknowledge the HMS Belfast?
That was really wonderful. It's something that I never ever thought I'd see. but it's something that I'll always remember.
Now Jim, you joined the Navy when you were 15 years old, and I was chatting to Jim earlier and you told me some amazing stories. One when a torpedo hit your ship, you were thrown 60 feet into the air, dropped into the ocean, and then had to cling onto a dead shark until you were rescued. Was that enough to put you off diving?
No, I dived from 16 and a half until I was 85, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, it's lovely talking to you, Jim. Have a great day. We're going to chat to you some more later. John. Hello there, John. You're a little bit wet there, aren't you? Now, Jim, John, this ship is obviously a huge, huge ship, over 10,000 tonnes. But when it was out and you were serving on the ship, it was thrown around like a toy during its duties as the Arctic convoys.
It was 14,000 tonne, but since then the weight and the arm has been reduced on the ship, so that's why it's at 10,000. But many a time when we've been in the heavy seas, in the Barents Seas, on the Russian convoys, we were picked up. And just imagine, you see these high buildings, and there was rollers coming in on you. You think, oh God, she'll never get through that. But the old girl did, as we took the call out. You know, she did. You knew she just picked up like a toy, and you know that because you could hear the propellers turning at the stern of the ship.
Yeah.
So and then she just got through. She weathered all the storms. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the ship now weighs 11,500 tonnes. Yeah, so it's a weighty ship. And have you enjoyed your day here today and cheering the Queen?
It's been fabulous. I must reiterate what my colleague and shipmate here has said. Never in my wildest dreams do I see such a pageant as that. We've got a diamond pageant and we've got a diamond as a Queen.
We certainly have, John. Well, enjoy the rest of your day here today. And thank you very much, Jim, as well. Thank you, chaps. Thank you, gents.
Well, the bascule certainly work as the Spirit of Chartwell just has to make quite a tight turn now to bring it up alongside. HMS President, sometimes described as the Stone Frigate. It's a naval shore establishment just located below Tower Bridge at St Catherine's Dock.
Well, as you've probably seen, it's getting a little bit wet, and if it wasn't wet enough, we've got all the working ships coming through. A fire boat going there, spraying the crowd, having a great time. You've probably noticed that it's all slowed down a little bit. We've got a bit of a backlog coming through Waterloo Bridge here, as some of the rowers are just getting off the water towards Tower Bridge, but still a great atmosphere. Just look at them up there on the Pride of London, even in the kitchen. Can you see them down below in the kitchen? They may be making sandwiches, but they're still getting a good view up there. What a wonderful atmosphere. National Theatre over in the background. They're still enjoying it here. They are getting, I have to say, a little bit tight as they come through Waterbridge. The marshals are telling them to slow down, be a little bit careful. Some of them, though, are still managing to blow their horn rather loudly. But they have to be, on a serious point, be very, very careful as they come through here. It narrows down. But I don't think they're worrying about going too slowly through here. They're having a great time.